Cool. But yeah, otherwise we can talk about. Oh, you're already recording. Cool.
I already hit record.
Otherwise, we can talk about one of our cello topics if we feel like we're
I was just looking.
in the need of that. So
We
Maybe.
talk about whatever we want to talk.
About.
Because we can.
it was great. You can tell it's been a while. Final thing. This should probably go out.
Next week.
I'm thinking a week from then.
A week from then.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Janchi Show. We're back. Finally. Hooray. Gosh, it's been a long time and also maybe not that long. I don't know. I don't know what time it is.
It does feel like it's been a long time, to be honest.
Even though we've chatted a little bit, we just haven't recorded. So
It feels
Yeah,
like
I guess
one of the
there's that.
longer breaks that we've taken. And it was a little bit unexpected, like an unexpected length of break. Even though it hasn't been that long, it feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah, I think it's just like the weirdness of the summer, but
I don't know.
That's
What
true.
about you,
It's
listeners? Have you been missing
Weirdly
us?
hot.
weirdly hot. Yeah. Time slows down the hotter it gets. It's good to be back and good to be hanging out with you, our listeners. For any new listeners, we are the Janchi Show. My name is KJ. With me is Patrick and Nathan, and we call ourselves the Janchi Show. Why, Patrick?
Because Janchi in Korean means to feast, and we feast on our stories and the experiences of other Korean adoptees to sustain ourselves and this show. We have to feast on those things, and then at the end of the show, we actually feast on physical items, or we snack.
Namely, food items, not just
Yeah.
like not just nomming on a keyboard or anything.
It's not just mukbang.
Sometimes you just grab something and you put it in your mouth, and that's
Sometimes
what
you just
happens.
eat
You
paper.
gotta munch on it.
It's fine. Paper is edible.
Yeah, but that's
If
why
it's
we do it, because
biodegradable,
we
it's
are Korean
edible.
adoptees and we do biodegradable things on the show.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Yeah, everybody likes that name that you have to explain 2 left turns through to finally
Yeah.
get the meeting.
I've actually had to explain Janchi a couple times recently. So
There you go.
I mean, it
How
is
did those interactions go?
almost exactly like what you just said. I mean, it is. I mean, the word, but the only 2 places I know that word other than our show is doljanchi and janchi noodles. So,
Janchi noodles.
I mean,
Janchi noodles.
is there another one? Is there another usage that we've ever seen it?
Yeah, it's Janchi Show. That's the 3rd usage.
That's the main
There's only
usage.
3.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the main one, and that's totally the main one for sure.
Yep. No, but it's been a while. Patrick, you went to Korea. We actually, I think the last time we officially recorded together, you were in Korea.
I was in
Yes.
Korea.
And then I had a bonus episode come out. And
Yes.
then, so welcome back
Yes.
on air to the United States of America, Patrick.
Thanks.
When
back.
you reflect on like something that really stands out from your Korea trip, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh God. The fact that okay, we're already getting into what do I want to talk about on air territory. Leave that part in. The fact that okay,
You don't want to talk about it, but you're
I'm
willing
going
to
to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. So the day before I left for Korea, I was packing my backpack and I looked in this drawer in my desk and my adoption file was in this drawer. So I grabbed it and I was like, you know what? I was shaking it in my hand and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to like go there. Like, I don't know when I'm going to be back. Like, I might as well try it out. See what happens. I'm not going
And
to tell
by-
nobody.
By
just
try it
gonna do
out,
it.
you mean
By try it out, I mean like do something with the file. Like I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I was going to go. I'm like, I'll go. Essentially, I was going to go to Holt, but I was like, I didn't say it in so many words.
I see.
Essentially,
You were like, I don't know if I'm about to hire a
gonna-
Skywriter.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
I
going to like blow it
had
up
no
into a
idea what
20
I was
by
gonna
24 and like plaster it on a billboard.
I had no idea what I was going to do. Could have been any of those things. But it was, and so I did that. And so the first thing that stands out in my mind is that interaction. So I went to Holt and Actually, you know what? You will all be able to read about it in 8 months when I finish this book that I'm writing, because the conclusion of this will be in this book. But suffice it to say, I came back from Korea, and the thing that I think about most about this whole trip is a really general thing, but also very specific, is this loss of history that we have as adoptees.
Yeah.
And like, that's something I've really been like grappling with a lot and trying to just process through, because my experience at Holt, while pretty standard, I would say, amongst the stories that you have when you hear about people going back to these agencies, it just really brought to the forefront that loss or that lack that I personally have, and that I think a lot of us experience if we can't enter into reunion and get some answers, and how inaccessible it seems and probably will be for a lot of us, and then specifically myself, regardless of the outcome of the journey that you all will be able to read about in my book whenever that comes out. Slow plug for the book.
In eventually, in plus or minus 8 months.
Plus or minus 8 months.
Probably
but
plus.
I mean, honestly, though, like when I think about the trip, like that's where my mind goes almost instantly, because so many things happened, and I think about all of these things, and I've really not had time to process, because when I came back, a lot of stuff happened. And when I think about it, like, this is just something I feel like I've been hung up on, and I'm getting ready to start my therapy journey, or I'm trying to start it. And I think this is something that's been on my mind, and something I really want to talk about with a therapist, is like, I really need to get at the root of this a little bit more.
This sense of loss.
Yeah. And but specifically with that history, like, you can't even look back on, I can't even look at who my parents were, who their parents were. Like, there's no direct line. When I talk about my ancestors, I have to talk about all of Korea.
Yeah. Like,
because there's no other way to talk about it, because I don't have that specific direct line I can look at. And that's just been messing me up, and thinking about that and everything that I guess is associated with it. And so when I think about my trip, that's what I've been thinking about a lot, is
that's the first thing that comes up in your mind.
Yes.
I guess if it's a feeling, that definitely makes sense. If you just say if somebody says, how was Korea? And you're just like, hello, Han, how are you?
100%.
And it's just like,
deep Han,
I don't want to explain all of this. So
for sure. But I mean, I'm just to be fully transparent and honest, like, when I think about this trip at all, and again, like, I have not had a lot of time to sit and process my own trip and like my own feelings coming out of it, because so many other things have been going on. That is the thing. That's where my mind goes, is like this very broad, like, not so great, terrible concept that I'm thinking about. But like, just like, I think about it like at least once a day. It's like my mind goes there, and I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about the emotions and all the feelings that are coming with it. So just being honest.
Was that done the first week? Because you were there for 2 weeks, 1 week by yourself, and then second week for IKAA. But was that trip to Holt done the first week?
So it was actually done the second week, which was a huge mistake, because it was then when I was not one train stop away, but like 45 train stops away. So again, going back to what I was thinking about I was going to do, I was like, I'm just going to show up at Holt, and I'm just going to go there whenever I'm ready to go there. And so the first week I really was like, I was just living. Everything I really wanted to just do that I couldn't do in October, I feel like I did in that first week, which is just really get to exist and just be on my own and walk around. But it wasn't until the second week that the whole trip happened. So, and it was at the end of the second week too. So it happened on Thursday, and I left on Monday.
Oh yeah.
So
so it was the end of the conference, and then you were just like, Nathan, I'm curious, just to pivot here for a second. What's your experience been like with the concept of Han and Las? Because obviously you've been an adoptee your whole life, but for new listeners, you are in reunion with a large part of your family. So yeah, what's been your experience, and hearing Patrick's like very recent memory of going back to Korea and going through that? Like, what's your kind of experience with Han?
Yeah. No, that's a good question, because I was thinking of reflections while he was talking about looking for any information or any connection or anything like that. I thought about, well, I have a connection and I have reunion, but yet I still have loss. I still have similar feelings, and even now that I'm in reunion, just because I have the contacts for my brothers and sisters, I don't still have any photos of me before I was 3 months old. I don't have, the communication between my family and I is very limited. So it's hard to even ask questions though. Hey, do you remember when I was, given up, or when, things like that? Like the conversations that I have now with my family are very, present. They're very like, oh, this is what I'm doing now. This is, what my family is doing now. None of it really is anything about the past. Nothing about how they were raised, or how, feelings that they had when they thought of me, or because they did think of me, because my oldest sister, for those who haven't listened to episode 1, my oldest sister had her first son 10 days after me. And so they always would think of me when they celebrated his birthday, because it was just 10 days apart. And so, I wonder sometimes in my mind what they're thinking, or if they even have questions about, any of that stuff in the past. Because I still have a few questions. I just really don't even know how to ask them sometimes. But it's, so I still have a loss of history, a loss of just knowing anything even really about my parents.
Right.
Even though I have a picture of them, I don't really know much about how they were, who they were. I know a little tidbits here and there, but it's it's still difficult. And again, I sometimes feel too prying when I like should I ask these deep, dark questions?
Sure.
Well,
you were trying to be mindful of their feelings,
Yeah.
and their
Because I
Also,
can tell
you don't know what a cultural faux pas is in
Yeah.
Korean
Right.
culture, so you're like, am I about to step in something that
exactly. So that's why I lately it's just been limited to, like I said, photos of current events and just things that that we can kind of talk about, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think it still speaks to this inaccessibility of it, like our direct lineage. Like, I hear people talk about, oh, well, my family came from this region and spoke this dialect, and before the split, before like it was a north and a south, and all of this. And it's just like, man, I wish I had that,
Yeah.
and it fucking, sorry, it sucks. Like,
Yeah.
we
thinking
got that
about it.
it's fine.
Yeah. And like, I've just been, really hung up on that since that trip. And it's just been like something I really got to like work through and process more and think about. So it helps to just talk about it out loud and to hear your experience, Nathan, and anybody who might share. But also is one of the reasons that I step back from sharing more personally on Instagram too, is just because I don't know. This is all like way deeper. It's all stuff that I thought I'd already come to terms with, and it's just like realizing I think I've just been talking about this stuff and I'm not really at this point, and I need to get to this point before I can talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's just like being hung up on it like that, I feel like is the first time that I've really felt that since I first entered or came to consciousness and started this journey. You know?
Yeah, I think it reminds me of this episode of Straight White American Jesus I listened to, where someone was like wrote like a one woman play, or it was either like that or like maybe also did stand up or something about like kind of their experience growing up in an evangelical church and then leaving that, and so like poking fun at that. But it was like kind of therapeutic, but then also it was like, well, this is how I need to like process this. And then it got to a point where, if I'm remembering the podcast correctly, they were like, I need to maybe pause because I think I actually need to like, it's gotten to a place where I need to really sit down like with myself, with a therapist, and like work through it until I can talk about it again. And I think that that's pretty natural, because like, I think for us, since we like entered this phase of our identity work like 3 years ago, there just was no language. And so in our own ways, just listening to people and then by practicing speaking to each other and others, like we give ourselves language. And so I think there is like the language acts as it's so nice to be able to explain how I'm feeling, but then eventually the feelings catch up and you're like, oh God, this is what I'm feeling. And then you need like new language because it's all just feeling all the time. It's like you're a baby again, and you don't have words. You just have an explosion of feeling, and it just comes out as crying.
Yeah. Well, I was actually having a conversation earlier today as of this recording about how I really haven't read yet an account of an experience from another adoptee that articulates what I've felt and I've been feeling since coming back and what I felt over there. And it's not that I don't think people have experienced something similar. I know people have. I just haven't seen someone share it in that way.
Yeah.
And like you said, trying to find language, like it feels like I'm really struggling to find the words to put to it, to even describe it. Because the only way I really can right now is just pure anger. I feel like it's been like a lot of just anger. And I've like found ways to kind of release it, but I can tell I've been a little bit more irritable. And also like I've got like officially diagnosed with like at least a low grade anxiety by my doctor, which is another revelation I had in Korea. So like I'm trying to like deal with that and realizing how that is affecting and influencing my mood and my emotions and things. But I'm also just like, I don't know, it just feels like I'm in this strange place, like when you first kind of enter, it's just like, there's like, I don't know, like you first come to consciousness is so much and it's like, I'm trying to catch up. And right now it feels like I've run off the map and there is no map. And I know that there is somewhere. I just have to find it. And I don't know where I'm finding it yet or where to even look at the moment. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear you even wrestling with like, well, okay. Two things, coming to consciousness, which is your, post-apocalyptic language, which is our trying to consider what's a different way of saying coming out of the fog.
Yes.
And it reminds me like, and this is something that I am interested in talking about later with kind of like what we want to see in like media representation. But it's funny because like it feels like since you were saying like, yeah, I just don't feel like I've heard or read anyone express what I've expressed, even though I know so many people have experienced this coming back from their home country and whatever. It's like imagine two Neanderthals trying to talk about like how to start a fire, except they don't have any language and they also can't see each other, but like they can hear each other. And she's like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, but that's what our community is doing. I think that's why like this podcast and others like it exist, is to try to help us find some language so we can speak just like a little bit more intelligently about this explosion of emotions that we feel.
Yeah.
And also find others that have similar feelings or stories, or like you said, the language to express. Maybe someday, Patrick, you'll hear from somebody.
Maybe in his book that's coming out in 8+ months.
Maybe now that you're explaining how you're kind of feeling, but not, really, how to express it. Maybe someone's going to go, I have that same feeling. I don't know how to express it, but anger is probably the first thing that I think of as well. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear. I mean, the more stories, even, like we said, we've been doing this for 3 years, but we still hear stories from people when I'm sure you heard a lot of news stories when you went to IKAA.
Yeah.
I mean, on that topic, how was IKAA in relation to this parallel of you also trying to, discover a little more about your story?
Yeah, it was great. I really did enjoy the conference as a whole. And it just coincided with, I think honestly, it just coincided with like all of these emotional breakthroughs. I called it a break. I had like a breakdown essentially on Wednesday of the second week.
Something
and
broke.
I reframed it as a breakthrough because I'm like, okay, this is what I was thinking about anxiety and like really trying to reflect on like, why the hell am I crying for 4 straight hours immediately after waking up? Like, what is wrong with me? I think that it just coincided with all of that happening. And I think if the conference happened in the first week, I think my experience would have been profoundly different with the conference. And also, like, I did drink a lot, and I think I was doing a lot of coping in not maybe the most healthy ways. And especially because I felt like I had this freedom to just be and exist there in a way that I did not have the first time. I think I overcompensated a little bit. And then in the conference, like, I did bond with a core group of people, adoptees that were there, some adoptees who lived there and other adoptees who didn't. And like, we just formed a really strong bond, and that helped pull me through. Hanging out with Rick Allen really helped me, like, when I was at my lowest, he was the person I was able to turn to walk with me, talk with me. Like, the dude is just amazing. Like, shout out Rick Allen a million times. He like literally saved my life while I was out there. Yes. So IKAA was, I thought, ran really well for having been off for 4 years, going through a leadership change. Like, what they needed to do, I thought they did, and I thought they executed as best as you possibly could. Mm-hmm. And I also ran 2 sessions. I presented with Liz Kleinrock, for a friend and former guest of the show. And then I did a panel with a few friends, Amanda Cho, Sana Laybourne was also there. She was on the panel. Shout out to her and Liz for also submitting these things and creating them. I was just like, put my name on it. Let me help you. Let me be a part of it. But those moments were great. Like, presenting with Liz, I've never seen Liz like in her element like this in person, and it was really awesome. Like, she's fantastic. And the way that she just talked about what we were talking about, which is cultivating space for adoptee voices from like teaching children perspective, was really, really powerful. And then I presented and I thought I did okay. But then at the panel on Saturday with Sana and Amanda, and then Sean Hardwick, he heads up the Australian Adoptee organization. Super dope, super cool guy. Somebody I came away with like a strong friendship, I feel like. I got super emotional on that panel. So like, when I think about IKAA, I think about how it was a chance for me to go through everything that I've gone through on the show again, and essentially just be reprocessing, but then in front of people, and like, I guess what I would consider a professional setting, because like, you're up there presenting in front of a group of like 50 people. They're all adoptees, and like, shout out to them for asking some really vulnerable, really impactful questions, because that really got to me, and that was really where the meat of the emotion came from. Also built off the back of everything that happened on Wednesday, everything that happened with Holt, like everything that happened in my own presentation before that. Like, all of this stuff was just happening in the background. And again, because I'm presenting, I'm at a conference, I'm meeting new people and hanging out with people, I didn't really have time to process any of this. I just experienced it, and then I went. Like, and even like with Rick, it was a process. With my other friends, it was a process to come out of that funk. But it was just really it was kind of like a Band-Aid. Like, it was healing, but it wasn't a solution. It just got me to the next point. And I'm so thankful for my friends for helping me get to these points. And it also helped me get to the realization of, I got a lot of shit that I got to work on with myself when it comes to all of these things. And so that's a really long answer to your question of how was the conference. I thought that overall the conference was really good. I love the community-based events that they held at the beginning, where it was less about programs, less about structure, more about get to know you, hang out with each other, find your people. I felt like that definitely happened in those first few days. And then Wednesday was the research symposium, which I really wanted to go to. So when I come on and do more conversations on the show or whatever, I'm like, ooh, let me pull this fact and this fact and this thing. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm just having an emotional breakthrough and I can't go. I can't be in a room more than 2 people. So, and then it was all programs on the back end. But it was always centered around community, I felt like, and a real emphasis on engaging with each other. So that way, again, like Con, like we talked about, what I really loved about Con was like, when you go home, you don't feel like, oh, I'm going back to isolation. It's like, you can go and you leave with these new connections that hopefully you forged over this time, and you don't feel so isolated or alone. And so I thought IKAA did a great job of that on a global scale, whereas Con was, more centered in the U.S. specifically. But I thought overall it was a good conference. I would go back again, would present again if they'd have me, yada, yada, yada.
Great. How many people were there? I heard that there was a lot. I know more than Con, but I know.
Yeah, I think it was 450 attendees, or at least adoptees, maybe. I'm not sure. Lots of people. Lots of people.
I mean, you had just come from a large 280 con, but did it actually feel like that many more? And was that many more people potentially overwhelming, or was it pretty well scheduled so that you didn't really feel like you're among 480 people?
So on the front end, like at the opening ceremonies and stuff and the opening mixers, like you could tell there was a ton of people there. And then I would say they did a really great job of making it to where you didn't have to feel like you had to be with all 480 people or 450 people throughout the whole thing. Like it was like, do as much or as little as you want. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show when we interview somebody. That's essentially what it was. Do as much or as little as you want. Like it's expensive as shit to get over there. And like when you get there, it's not as expensive, but like it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of privilege to be able to just go over there. So I feel like also emphasize like make this trip what you want it to be. And again, different than what I felt in October, which was one of the reasons, like that was one of the good takeaways that I had from IKAA specifically, was just this emphasis on meeting us where we're at in our own journeys. And then you go from there. So like, again, like I went through my stuff and didn't feel pressured to go to the symposium still, or even like really if I had to show up at my other presentations, but like I was going to show up and obviously do them. But I feel like I could have even been like, I'm going through it, and I don't know if I could adequately perform in the way that I need to. So, overall, I thought it was really well run for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, but which one was
wanting
better?
to go.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I wasn't going to ask that either.
I'm just kidding. I would never pit two things against each other like that.
No, but I definitely want to go. It's on my list in 3 years to go, so I'm trying to definitely make a point to remember.
Same.
But,
we got to go together at least one time.
I know. I think.
Oh my god!
we should all go.
We definitely do.
Yeah.
If we're
and
still,
then we can, and then the show can end.
Still the Janchi show,
and then the show can
and then the
end.
show can end. So we might be. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be 20 years. But if we're 50, 60 years old and we get out there, that's the first time. Hopefully, the Janchi show is still going on then, so we can close it at that point.
Spoiler alert! In 3 years, when the show is happening, I'll be 50 years old.
Spoiler alert!
So. Thanks for that.
Hey, we're not ageist here. I didn't say anything about it. I was just saying.
Yeah.
So funny. What's like the first silly random memory that comes up when you think about your Korea trip?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, the first thing that comes up is that the last night of Christian, Liz's husband, his pop-up at one of the bars in Hongdae, we went and had some cake, and then we left the cake was for Liz's birthday. We were in their hotel room, then we left. It was like 12:30, and I'm like, I was ready to keep going and keep drinking, but I was like, I'm just gonna go back to my hotel. And there it was, this little restaurant that's open 24/7, so it's dope. And I'm like, ooh, I had some really good kimchi bokkeumbap in here before. I'm just going to stop here at 12:30. And I'm like, I wanted to drink more, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get this big old meal right here. And so I popped in there and ate, and I just sit there. I'm like watching Captain America Winter Soldier on my phone, and I'm just eating kimchi bokkeumbap. And I'm just like, I feel really Korean right now. And I'm like, this is great. And then I just like finished my food, set my tray on the tray thing, and I just went to my hotel and fell asleep. It was great. And that's one of my top like 5 memories of the whole trip, was just curbing off from going to the bar, because I did honestly feel a little self-conscious going to bars by myself, and just going to this restaurant. Did not feel any type of way about going to a restaurant at 12:30 to get food. I was like the 7th person in there, so
you're like, shut up, this is normal.
Yeah.
It's
so that's my favorite like silly moment. The first one that comes to mind is just getting food late night and just watching a movie on my phone.
That's
really
great.
Funny. So on that line, what was your favorite dish or food item that you had during the 2 weeks?
Man, I had a lot of different barbecues, and there was one barbecue.
I hope it wasn't Texas barbecue.
Outer Gangnam. That was a Texas Roadhouse. There was a lot of American steakhouse.
It was an Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, there is I think it is an Outback Steakhouse in the Coex Mall where the thing was.
Oh man.
Anyways, in Gangnam, that was so good, and it was just like a little off the thing. Like I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know where it was. I was just like following
a Korean
people.
mom and pop shop.
Yeah. It was so good. The best barbecue, and I went to a couple fancy barbecue places. But we did go to a place called Wule Oak, which is like a real famous restaurant over there, and we had to wait like 2 hours to get in. But they are famous for their namyeon, the cold noodles.
Yeah.
Namyeon, which was really good. And I was like coming off of I was like a real low moment, not because of emotions, but because of just my energy was low. We've been walking around and stuff, and I just felt like maybe my blood sugar was low or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that moment and eating that meal because we got barbecue and we got namyeon, and I was just like,
re-energized.
I wasn't like speaking. I was so exhausted, and I was just like, all right, here we go, and I was just eating.
Second wind.
Yeah, he was like, Popeye just had his can of spinach, baby.
Yeah, essentially that's what it was. So I remember that meal very fondly because it was like it lifted me back up for the rest of that week. So
that's funny. Do you have one bit of Korean-ness? Could be culture, could be language, could be food, whatever, that you want to implement now that you're back stateside?
So definitely just frequenting Korean restaurants and just getting more and more familiar with the food and just eating it. So it just feels like, I'm supposed to be eating this food.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a weird, like I'm really still all about the American food, just the greasy burgers and fries, like give it to me. But there's just something about this particular trip that made me feel like this what I wanted to do. And I think I talked about it in that other episode, with like me not knowing enough about the food and being like food stupid or whatever I said about it.
Yeah.
But
I think you did specifically say food stupid.
I said something like that. So it's definitely that. I think honestly, it's less about the cultural aspects of it, and it's more about just being involved in the community more. And not even necessarily the Korean American community here, but just the Asian diaspora communities here in general. And it just made me more hyped up about being involved and doing more things with these organizations. Because when I was there, another thing that I've been thinking about a lot too, a little bit, I guess, on the plus side is this feeling of like taking your mask off and you blending in with the majority. When you're walking around, you don't feel. I never felt anybody was looking at me except when I was covered in sweat. But like and then realizing that I even to this day still don't have that here in the city and the state that I've lived in my entire life. Like I still know that I wear this mask, navigate this community, this neighborhood, this city in a specific way. And realizing that I want to make Asian America here as visible in the positive ways as possible, in the most positive ways as possible, because it's just like we deserve to be able to just live openly and safely and okay in ways that you can on the coast in these larger areas. And whether that's building empathy with folks outside of these communities, or whether it's getting these communities, organizations that operate outside of the Midwest specifically to take notice of this community and support the initiatives, the events, the organizations who have been here for a long time doing stuff, whatever that looks like, I want to be involved in that. And I want to help facilitate that as much as I can. And so that's what I've taken away from that. I want to eat the food more for sure. And I want to make sure that I'm being a better, more active, engaged part of the Asian American community that's here.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. Like, so working with Stephanie Drenka, who was a friend and former guest of the show. So she just launched her first exhibit with Dallas Asian American Historical Society. It was really fantastic. It's called Leftover, the Enduring Legacy of Chinese Food in Dallas. And it's the same kind of thing. It was like, we've been here for hundreds of years. Like, and just thinking about like what it means to carve out a space for us in Dallas, and what does that look like? And what is, I mean, even Nathan, like this should be more common, and I think of it as uncommon. Partially, I think because of the influence of like the coast, but just like Asians who like genuinely get into country music and like country like cowboy culture and all those kinds of things in a way that like doesn't feel like a survival tactic, or in a way that doesn't feel like, you know what I mean, but just like that they have the freedom to love it because they love it. So I just think that's weird. I don't know what is necessary, because sometimes like I'll go to like old Koreatown or new Koreatown here in Dallas, and I'll be like, this is so fun. And then like I'll hear people speaking in Spanish, and that really takes me out of it. But I'm like, I can't like somehow just be like, yeah, it's okay. Like LA Koreatown, like probably the second language in LA Koreatown is Spanish, even over Korean, just by like population. So it's just like, I don't know. Like I don't know if I just have my own hangups around it, but yeah, I totally get that, fighting for and building spaces where we can feel like we can let our hair down, for lack of a better term, and just be chill.
And especially, I feel that it's more apparent after you've been to like Korea or the coasts or something like that, and then you go home to more central U.S. where we have a lot more whiteness around us. And it's just, for me, when I was in California, great, felt comfortable, had a great time, but I definitely just noticed it a lot more when I came back to Colorado. And there's still a lot of diversity here. A lot.
But it's like white by default.
But it is, yeah. And it just takes me aback every time that happens, when I go between those two spaces. And it does make me want more of that, or at least a way where I'm not feeling that way, where I'm not feeling like I'm standing out at some point. And I don't know how that's going to happen either. But I did want to share another funny story real quick, that today that you just reminded me of this. Today, when I was playing golf, and this morning I was just I got there early, and I was just putting on the little practice green, and this other older man, I kind of could see him, and he kind of came out. I usually just pay attention to my own ball, and he came over and he goes 안녕하세요, and I was like, oh, hello. And it was just this little old Korean man, also playing golf, and he was getting ready to go. He was like, he was in the party above in front of ours, but it was just funny that he was there, and he said that to me, and it surprised me at first. And then he goes, "You're Korean, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And
he's like, "Yeah, I understood what you said, sir."
Yeah, I know. I said hello, but I didn't say it back. That's where I should have probably said that back to him. But
seems like you were caught off guard.
I was caught off guard, but I appreciated it, and we had this little small chat for a second, and I asked him about the course, and then he went off and played. But yeah, it's just funny when little things like that happen, like just out in the wild.
Yeah. I will say, even when you're on guard for it, it's still hard to catch it.
Sure.
I don't remember if I've talked about this on the show, but I get my hair cut at my local Great Clips by a Korean woman. And she was like, after we had talked a little bit, and you're like, "Are you Korean?" I was like, "Yes." She was like, "Okay, I work Monday, Thursday, like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Come whenever you come back, like come and I'll cut your hair." I was like, "Cool." So I've seen her 3 times now, and we speak in Konglish, and that's really fun because I don't have any vocabulary, so she's very patient with me. But it's like she'll ask me a question, and it will process in my head for like 4 seconds, and she'll begin to translate, and I'm like, wait, no, I understood one of those words. So, but it's like, it's really hard to catch it, even when like I go in there knowing like, okay, today I practiced my Korean. I got to be ready to talk. And yeah, but it's just like, but it's also fun because through the course of doing the show, like I learned that Koreans say our or we when referring to like my or mine. So I'd say like, oh yeah, my nuna. I'd say 우리 누나 is however old, or I have like my brother 우리 형, right? And like those kinds of things, and just be like those little things. I'm like, oh, I know this from the show, and then I had to remember my numbers because we were talking about ages, and I was like, I'm 30. How do I say 30 in Korean?
Oh my gosh, I'm constantly looking up numbers on my phone.
Well, so
going to restaurants
in Korean is actually pretty easy because like you do have to learn 2 sets of numbers, which sucks, but like basically you just have to know like 1 through 9, and then 10, 100, 1,000. Because you just say like, to say 30, you say like 310. So if you say like 33, you say 310, 3, and that's how you do numbers. So I was like, I get it. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I know that 11 is Yol Hana because Yol is 10.
Right.
And Hana is 1.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had to say there was 11 people coming one time.
Nice.
Someone who did not speak any English, and I was like, all right, we're just going to sit down at this table and we're going to make it work.
I can see you trying to like hold up your fingers and going, I don't have 11 fingers.
Oh, I
Darn
was
it.
walking up the stairs. I'm like, all right, what is this? And I'm like pronouncing it. I'm like, all right, let me listen to the pronunciation. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So it's just fun. Like exactly those little bits of Koreanness in the wild, those little bits to engage in your culture, I think are so important. It actually reminds me of Jennifer texted me when she was at Con, and she was like, oh, she had her own revelation about why it felt so good to be around adoptees specifically. And I think it's one of those things where, again, going back to what we were talking about in the very beginning, it's just like once you experience it, that's one thing. And you can like, I know the feeling that I'm chasing after, but to build that, you have to be able to express that. And that lack of language, I think, is the thing that really shoots us in the foot time and time again, because we're out here trying to figure it out. I mean, that's what the whole show is about, is trying to give each other language. But yeah, so I hope that we're able to do it. And I'm really excited for everything that happened for you, Patrick, in Korea, even though it sounded like a lot of it was very difficult. And there's still a lot of hard work to come. It seems like overall it's good work and it's right work. So thanks for sharing.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for listening. It's cathartic to talk about it with y'all on the show. So
yes. Well, we appreciate it. And thank you for bringing some snacks from Korea, which
I did it one time. I'm here.
One time, baby.
He is providing the snacks. Patrick, straight from actual Korean
Straight
soil.
from the motherland.
Straight from the motherland. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and cue that up. We'll be right back with a snack item.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show. Food time. Snacky snack time.
Food time.
Snickety snack.
Snackety snacks. Snackety snickety snack. We have a very special snack all the way from Korea. So this is truly Korean snacks.
Aren't technically most of all of our snacks from Korea?
Yeah, that's a minor detail. But these are hand transported from Korea, from Patrick himself.
I did transport these by hand.
Yes.
100% true.
Allegedly, he shipped this illegally.
Yes.
It's illegal.
He
undeclared.
Ran through customs. No, they could be
You'll
listening.
never take me alive.
You'll never take me and my almonds alive. I can send them all.
He'd just be like, "These nuts," and be like, "We don't get it.
You'll never take my nuts."
Oh, that would be worth it. That would be 100% worth it.
Koreans would be like, "I don't get it."
I know. I was like, these are just almonds.
That sounds like viral video to me. Yes. Okay. I'll talk about these almonds a little bit. I did bring some almonds here. That's what we're having is almonds. I don't remember where I heard about these. But wait, am I still here? Okay.
On an almond farm.
But these are Tom's Farms almonds. And essentially what's happening here is there's a bunch of different flavors of these almonds.
HBAF, though.
On the packaging, right? Yes. HBAF, which stands for Healthy But Awesome Flavors, and is a product of the Korean almond importer Gilim. I'm assuming that I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm not going to take any corrections on my pronunciation. I think they got around like 20, 24 flavors. They have they come in huge package sizes. Nathan was just telling us about how H Mart near him, they are super expensive. I do not remember these being very expensive, but they might have been.
I mean, and nuts in general, I feel, are kind of expensive too. So even
that's true.
Nuts from the U.S. So
that's true.
It takes a lot to make an almond.
Apparently, these particular almonds gained popularity during the honey butter trend in South Korea in 2015.
Well, yeah, it was a big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the time, convenience stores were sold out on honey butter products due to the craze behind this interesting taste. Total exported value around 140 million won per year. which if I'm thinking about it, doesn't sound like that much money.
I was going to say, I don't have
140
any
million
reference of how much money that is.
Is going to be like
No clue.
14,000, I think.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Was listed in Savour magazine's top 100 favorites from the world of food.
Okay.
Doesn't say when. So I don't know if I'm trusting this website. But
well,
with HBAF almonds, you can have all the delicious and fun flavors of a treat with the health benefits of a nutritious snack. All right, perfect. Well, we have 18 of the 20 flavors that I've sent to my fellow co-hosts here, and we're going to try 4 of them for you today.
Yes,
I looked it up. 140 million is 107,000.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Don't know. Yeah,
I don't want to say either or.
Let's just roll through a few flavors here for the listeners. Just
sounds like they should bump the price up on the $9.99 a little bit.
So which ones are we trying?
Which one are we trying? I'll list a few flavors just that we have, and then we'll go through the ones we want, just because the people should know. There's the honey butter, of course, the roasted onion, tiramisu, black sugar, garlic bread, baked corn, and then I think the rest of these are the ones we're going to try, which is, I know they have wasabi, matcha, Jeju matcha, which is interesting. Is that a specific matcha from Jeju Island? Is that
I would assume so.
To assume that it is.
But I just didn't even know that was a thing. Is Jeju Island known for its matcha? I mean,
Jeju Island is known. I don't know if matcha is known.
It is known.
People know Jeju.
All right. Also, just want to point out really quickly, these are not expired.
Hey, we did it.
Okay, you should buy all the snacks, Patrick.
Let's start with the Jeju matcha.
Expired stuff. All right, we're going to start with the Jeju matcha.
All right.
It seems like a light flavor. I don't see a clear open here.
I just ripped.
Mine is a tad melted, but it's okay. Gonna taste the same. I want to say that these small sample packs are great because you get a little bit of all the different flavors. However, I feel like I only had 4 almonds in this package.
I also only had 4 almonds.
Only had 4 almonds. I'm like, that's. I mean,
I don't feel as bad when I go, I've already finished the package.
Yeah, I mean, I know we were only going to try a few of these packages. I feel like I want to try all the packages.
I'm going to try all of them now.
Well,
it's super good. So generally, like just imagine like a yogurt covered or like chocolate covered almond with the matcha. And this one is interesting because it was like sweet, which I mean, I know green tea was sweet, but like given the Korean foods are generally not that sweet, I was like, it's probably, but this one's pretty sweet. So
yeah,
I will say there was a lot of sweets available in Korea, literally everywhere. And like for breakfast, it's like cakes and like muffins and all kinds of like non-breakfast
carbs
food.
And pastries.
Yes,
okay. Interesting.
Which I thought was interesting.
I also should point out for anyone who goes to a store looking for these, they have very cute packaging. They actually have like little almonds on the front doing something that has something to do with the flavor. Like, for example, these spicy ones, there's a little nut with fire flying out of his mouth and he looks like he's in pain.
It's maybe not great though, because wouldn't that imply that like the almonds are killing each other and wrapping themselves up in the flavors to be shipped off for human consumption?
Yeah, well, they're just
like sacrificing themselves to their
their life's
overlords.
Purpose.
Yikes, that's tragic.
Yikes.
What's next?
Let's go to spice.
Spice.
Yeah, let's leave like the last sweet one for the end. So I'm curious about this hot and spicy chicken flavor. Is it gonna taste like ramen?
Oh man, like a Blue Dog ramen.
Yeah,
I cannot open this one.
It doesn't smell very spicy.
Yes, I can.
Well, I took 2.
I like this one. This one's good.
This one's got a lot more spice than I expected this almond to have.
This one's also a sweet flavor.
True.
Yeah.
Like sweet and spicy.
So I've had the wasabi flavor, and the wasabi flavor is at no point like spicy wasabi. It just has the flavor of wasabi and then a little bit of sweetness on the inside as well. This one's way more hotter, but it still has that sweet and hot.
Is it like that CW hot though?
Yeah, and this one had a lot more almonds in it. This one has 7 or 8. I know. I rolled right through your pop culture joke.
I have a joke that I don't have a strong mind's eye, so anytime someone's talking about people that I don't know, I just imagine them all as CW hot.
That makes sense.
So
I do the same.
This is hot spicy chicken almond. Oh, I feel this down. Oh, hello. I
That
feel
was
this
a good
low.
bag.
I've only eaten 2.
Oh,
This
ate
has
all of
more.
mine. Yeah, this one had like 8 in it.
Yeah.
All right.
This one's
I don't know if I can
hot.
just say down to the hatch, but because I'm feeling it low.
You're feeling it low. Like how low?
Like
Throat low or like
no,
low,
like
low?
lower, like
Ooh.
top of the stomach low.
This is going to be a fun show.
So, anyways, yeah, it's hot spicy chicken almond flavor, and I just said like the brand Buldak like ramen, but
Yeah.
also the Korean says Buldak mat. So
There you
I
go.
guess that's bul is fire,
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't
and
know.
then mat is flavor. So I guess dak is chicken.
Chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire chicken flavor.
Fire chicken. All right. Now what?
I gotta finish my nuts. Hold on.
I'm going to shake my nuts here in a second. Let's see here. How about the
Enjoy
Injol-
me?
me? What
just
did we say
because
it
that's
was?
an interesting. So that is rice cakes.
I like how I said, what did we say it was? Like we defined
like we invented it. Yeah. So you can see the little almonds holding them up. They're like little rice cake desserts.
I will say they're kind of difficult to open.
This has milk in it in the ingredients.
Oh, no way. Okay, so look on the front of that picture. You see that little thing that he's sitting on, that almonds? He's like sitting on some sort of like, it's almost like a fold-out chair, a wooden fold-out chair. It looks very similar to the one that I have.
You have that same chair.
My godmother,
Are you actually
back in
an
Oklahoma, bought one like a chair in Korea, or like a little like device that holds things, like a I want to say, so that those little cords, it acts like a backpack, and then you put stuff on. I think it's for rice actually.
I do see.
And you carry the rice in stacks behind it, but you carry it like a backpack. It's like and I have one of those like hanging in my storage room.
Well, let's see.
Interesting. Huh.
That must be how they're transporting the injolmi.
Yeah.
This is good. This is a good palate cleanse.
Oh, these are also very thickly coated.
I got 3 in this one. Rude.
This is like very like mild, almost chocolatey, like white chocolatey almost.
Yeah, I wish I knew what injomi was, but Google doesn't know, so therefore I don't know.
When I looked it up, it's those little rice cakes, like in a little.
But the ingredients say milk, so that's the only word I could recognize
Maybe
in
it's
the
like a
sea of
stuffed.
Korean flavors. Oh wait, this also says milk, so maybe it's not milk. I mean, it is milk, but maybe it's not a flavor thing.
I mean, yeah, the recipes.
My mouth is still burning a little bit from the spice.
We got one more to chase it down with.
Yep.
All right.
What should we go with? Sweet or savory?
I thought we were doing the cookies and cream.
Like, we can.
Yeah, but these are all really sweet.
Yeah,
so
that
let's
last
actually
one was pretty sweet. So
All right,
that's why I'm
let's change
thinking I
to-
kind of want to switch to like the garlic bread or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's do the garlic bread.
All right.
35
And-
kilocalories.
Yeah. And again, cute little almonds cooking some garlic bread in an oven on the front with a little
There's
Italian
pieces
flag.
of crouton or something in here.
Oh, nice. That is unexpected.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh,
no.
it smells garlicky.
No.
Oh, it's so garlicky.
Mmm. Oh, goodness.
I'm going to say this is not good.
To ward off the spirits.
No more vampires.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it is. It's like a garlic crouton.
But
Oof.
also buttery.
Very buttery on the end, which makes sense.
I think you have to like garlic for this one. A lot.
You gotta like it a lot. I can't imagine eating more than that sample pack.
See, we could have the cookies and cream.
We still can.
Nathan's like, I'm gonna turn this segment into a mukbang.
We still can, he says.
I still have one of the spicy ones. I'm going to have that as a
Ooh, that's smart.
as the finisher.
I like the spicy one.
Yeah. All right. Wow.
All right, I rated all 4 of these individually.
Individually? Okay.
Well,
Well, I guess I didn't voice that I was going to do that. I just did it.
No, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hit me with it.
start it off.
All right, I gave the matcha a 4, I thought that was a good taste, even though matcha is not necessarily my favorite flavor. Just thought it was solid. I gave the hot chicken a 4.5. I thought that was real good, and I don't know what would have took it over the top for me, but real good. I gave the Indomie another 4.5. I thought it was the right mixture of sweetness and texture for what I was looking for, and almond taste. And then I gave the garlic a 2.5 because it was just right down the middle for me. Too much garlic and maybe not enough almond, but it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever eaten. But I also agree I probably wouldn't do more than the sample pack at any one time. So overall, like a 4.25.
Yeah, what's the what's the average of that?
I think that's pretty close to the average. I will type it in, but somebody else can go if you want.
No, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty accurate.
Well, I'm looking it up, Nathan. You can't stop me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how my ratings...
3.875.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 2.5 really hurts.
That 2.5.
2.5. I don't know if I'd go... I mean, I like garlic.
I do too, but not like that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's like that sweetness that's in all of these flavors. Like that doesn't mix well with the garlic.
Yeah.
All right. What are your ratings? You can just do one overall rating.
No, I like the individual ratings. I think that's good because some of the flavors are actually better.
All right.
Actually, overall, I think they were all somewhat equal. The garlic bread was my least favorite. You're right. But I wouldn't. I mean, it's garlicky, but I would give it like a 3. And the rest I would probably give the rest of them a 4.5. Honestly, I think all of them were equally tasty and accurately flavored for what they were advertising.
Flavored. I like that.
It's not like too artificial or too like what is this kind of a flavor kind of thing. I think they were all very accurate. So overall, I think all of them are about a 4 out of 5. So total.
So the average rating of yours, Nathan, then is 4.125.
There you go.
4.1.
So yeah, I am gonna say I think a 2.5 is fair for the garlic in terms of it just being like straight down the middle. It was fine. I'm gonna say Indomie, I would give like a 4. The matcha, I think, gets also a 4. They're good, and I didn't love the like creaminess of it.
Sure.
But I also appreciated the creaminess of it. Like, I think now that I know what to expect, maybe I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. But yeah. And then the spicy one, I'm going to give a 4.5.
Hey,
I thought it was really good. I wish it didn't hit me low like it did. I don't know if that was like operator. Yeah, I don't know if that was operator error or what. But, yeah, so that's where I'm at. Which gives my overall rating to be 3.75.
All right.
So
3.75 to
overall
4.1.
Pretty good for healthy, but also
but fun.
Healthy but awesome.
Healthy but awesome.
But
awesome
flavors.
Yeah.
And who knows? These ratings could change the overalls when we try some of these other.
Some of the other. I mean, I've had the honey butter and the wasabi. Both of those were really good. I think actually all these other flavors are going to be good. To be honest, I'm looking forward to the cookies and cream one. But
I'm looking forward to that one.
You know what I'm not holding my breath on though? Baked corn.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, you never know. It could be.
I don't think I've had a single Korean corn product that I've just been super gung ho about.
Cornchy.
No.
Okay.
Definitely.
It's the Cornchy
triggered
show.
some PTSD for me. Cornchy.
Yeah, that
cheese paste.
Yeah.
On a Cheeto.
Well, yeah, that's the show. We are back officially.
We are back, baby.
Yes. We'll have a bunch more interviews coming up soon, and thank you to everybody who came to con and actually bought some merchandise because we had the
thank you.
new aprons cooking aprons that we had, and we'll be throwing those up on the merch site as well.
Oh yeah, because how do I get one of those?
Yeah, I know. And you need to get one. Patrick got one.
I'm gonna buy one.
Yeah.
I'll support the show.
We should announce. Oh, we should have announced this earlier, but I don't know. It's if anyone's stuck around and you're still listening, Bay to LA, September. Are you going to be in Los Angeles for that? I don't know. AKA
Are you asking us
SF?
if we're gonna be there?
No.
I'm thinking about it. I don't
Talking
really know.
to the
honestly.
people.
The people.
The peoples. So
Talking
yes,
to
we
the
are
people.
going to be the speakers at the AKA SF LA.
One of the speakers.
Beta LA, one of the speakers, and yes, thank you for that. But so if anybody is looking to attend that, actually, it was California only up until August 6th. So by the time this airs, it'll be open, but it is limited seating. So get your tickets.
Yeah, get your tickets early.
now.
We would love to hang out with you. I mean, I'm only going to be there for I think less than 48 hours, so it's not like I've got a ton of time to hang out otherwise. But we'll definitely try to figure something out. So
We will figure something out. Our third anniversary, returning to our original anniversary stomping grounds where we met for the first time.
yes, for our third anniversary, we're celebrating the second anniversary of the first time that we met together.
Yes, that's the way we do it.
back in LA. Though September 9th, again, go to AKSF, their pages if you want to find out more.
Go to their pages if you want to find out more. We don't have that information. But if you want information about us, you can go to our website, janchishow.com, and find out all the information there. You can also buy some aprons from our store.
Yeah, our
You
store
can find
works. Woo!
Other ways to support us. If you want to reach out to us for whatever reason and share all your lovely stories and comments and compliments that we really like to receive, you can do so at Janchi Show on all the social media platforms. You can do so via email to janchishow@gmail.com. You can also do so by phone, 972-677-8867.
Crushed it.
Crushed it. We are back in the saddle, and I am remembering phone numbers. The other thing that you can do if you want to support the show is leave us a rating or review on whatever player that you're currently listening to this on, if they allow and have capabilities for that. We always greatly appreciate those as well. Oh, I mean, we just dropped the number. We have a voicemail that we're supposed to have listened to multiple times ago.
Gosh
and
dang it.
we are going to get to it. Thank you, person who's left the voicemail. I haven't heard it. I don't think Nathan's heard it.
I haven't heard it.
Okay, well, we're going to listen to it soon. If you want to follow along with me individually, you can do that at Patrick in the World, even though I'm not posting right now.
Or your other podcast.
Or my other podcast. I wasn't going to plug it, but you can
yeah.
at Conversation Podpiece on Instagram. We have some cool stuff coming up here in August and September.
His less
so.
successful, but still also good podcast.
Hey, we appreciate all adoptee voices, even Patrick's twice.
Yeah, even
you
my
want to
voice
double
twice.
dip with Patrick in the World.
Yeah, I literally just have the exact same conversation. I actually just run the episodes that we record here on.
Then he just takes us out of it.
Yeah, it's just me and then silence, and then me and then silence.
Excellent.
Do you guys have places?
Yeah, I'm at KJ Relke, wherever I want to be found on the internet,
And the Janchi
which no
Show.
longer includes Twitter/X. I think I just deleted my, or I'm about to
X'd out of
delete
X.
my,
Okay.
cancel out of that business. So, but I am on
Smart.
Threads, so that's fun.
Threads.
Hey.
Look at you influencer.
I don't think that's accurate.
I don't know anyone who's on that. I mean,
Everybody's on it.
everyone but me. I am on Instagram at nnowalk and Facebook at
transition.
Nathan Nowalk.
Beautiful transition. All right. We're back. We will be back with another episode after this one, I think. And we have a bunch of guest interviews coming up that we're really excited about. So until next time, Janchi.
Janchi I miss hearing that music.
That was great. I'm going to edit this episode only so I can take Nathan's little O's and just have them trail off of here for